Today's topics, if you want to pull up that first slide for me. Again, we're at the Vibe Rides driver training session, and today we're talking about our culture and our guidelines. So we think it's important at this point in time, mostly for you drivers, to kind of go over and let you know who we are and also what our guidelines are. Of course, as always, we've got rules and regulations, just like every other company does, but we'd like to spend a little bit of time today to go over those, talk a little bit about our culture and who we are. Next slide, please, Mark. And again, for our Spanish-speaking people, I could try to do this in Spanish and maybe quite entertaining to my Spanish-speaking friends out there, but I think I'll probably pass. So if you're listening in, if you want to be on the Spanish Zoom line, it's 443-186-957, 443-186-957. I think I was fairly close. Maybe somebody Spanish-speaking can let me know if I completely missed them all, or I got relatively close. All right, next slide, Mark, please. So to start off with, I want to talk a little bit about our vision at Vibe Rides and our mission. So any company is just going into the rideshare, you may say, geez, you're another rideshare company, but we want to be different. So in our vision statement, it says, our goal is making the world smaller again by bringing people together, by improving accessibility, mobility, and collaboration, to leave a smaller footprint, but ignite bigger opportunities and create memorable, I lost my last word because I can't see it here, connections. Sorry about that. So that's our vision. And Mark, if you can bring up the next slide for me. We want to be different. That's our tagline. That is our hashtag, just different. Together we can be just different. As I mentioned yesterday, when you get on the calls, I don't know many rideshare companies that actually have what I would consider their own house band. We have our own musicians that actually write songs for Vibe Rides. I don't think there's a lot of rideshare companies out there that actually have a musician and their own band that can actually write and perform their tunes. Puts us about being different. You know, our goal is always to serve others to the best of our ability, to do better by contributing to society and leave a positive impact for the improvement of others. And, I'll just share with you a personal story when you talk about relationships and what actually comes out of just that rider-driver relationship. I was taking a trip to the airport about a year ago, and the individual I was riding with was a veteran, and started chatting with him and started telling me about his nonprofit organization that he was doing to help other veterans in the area. Well, it was interesting. He was a very, very nice gentleman, and I asked him. I said, "Well, give me one of your cards. I'd like to, see your website. I'd like to look at it." And about 6 months after that, I saw that he was actually having a fundraiser for his nonprofit. My family and I showed up at his nonprofit fundraiser, and he was just kind of blown away that I would actually remember him for going on a ride share with him. But it's those type of experiences, if we look at it, the opportunity to reach out and get a chance to know somebody else, a chance to make a different connection. It was actually a nice experience to be able to do that. And part of the thing here at Vibe Rides is we're looking for those experiences. It's more than just going from A to B. We want to be different. We want to have that culture. And like I said, we want to better everybody that we deal with. So it just gives you an idea of our vision and our mission statement. And now I want to move on to some of our regulations and guidelines that we have. And as we do this, I'm going to bring Angela on the line. Most of you haven't had a chance to see Angela over the last couple days. Angela is our Director of Business Development for Vibe Rides. Angela and I work very, very closely with each other in order to bring you all these training sessions every day. And I think I told you, Angela's been very instrumental since the onset of Vibe Rides, getting everything up and running. And I'm going to turn it over to Angela right now, and she's going to walk you through the guidelines for Vibe Rides. Morning, Angela.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Vibe Rides Nation, and good morning, Scott. Thank you so much for that. That's great. We're going to get into, even though our culture is about building relationships, but it's also, there's a more serious component to that. And it's really important for us as a company and to keep you safe and to keep the company safe and to keep the rider safe. So there's a few components that we need to go over and talk about. And so here we go. Let's see here. I just need to see the slides. Let's see here. There they are. Okay, so we have guidelines, of course. We need guidelines, just a few of them, and I'm going to share them with you today. We have three very important pillars that as part of the company. So one of them being treat everyone with respect. The other, help keep one another safe. And the other is follow the law. Next slide, please. All right, so I'm just going to go through with them a little bit. I'll get into deeper components and details of some of them, but I'm just going to go over them with you, and hopefully we can share some really important information with you regarding these, okay? So treat everyone with respect. Physical contact. Unless you're helping someone into a vehicle or helping someone carry luggage or their groceries, there should be no physical contact whatsoever, okay? And that's because if it's a space thing. Some people are very sensitive regarding their space, so you don't want to get into their space, and they shouldn't be getting into yours. So some of these components that we'll be talking about is regarding the rider, but it's also regarding you. We want to keep both you and the rider safe. So we'll probably go into the rider-driver kind of components, but in this case, for you to you know, in regards to physical contact, no reason to be really close into someone's space. Sexual assault and misconduct, that's really serious. And again, both for the rider and the driver. Verbal or physical sexual conduct is unacceptable. That, you know, for example, sexual chats, innuendos, conversations about anything sexual is not acceptable, okay? And you shouldn't have to accept that either, all right? Threatening and rude behavior, okay? That's definitely, again, there's no reason for verbal or physical threats or behavior in any manner whatsoever. And if someone does engage in that, as on the rider side, do not engage back. Okay, stay away from that type of conversation. To protect yourself, you can, if you feel threatened in any way, you can cancel the ride. Okay, so be aware that if you ever feel threatened in any way, you can cancel the ride. Okay, just to protect yourself. But then again, the rider has that option as well. Unwanted contact. Again, that's part of physical contact. There's no reason to contact anyone in any manner and get into their space at all, okay? The next one is discrimination. Whether physical, race, color, gender, political, or religious standing, it is unacceptable. We have a zero tolerance on discrimination in any manner. And again, that goes both ways. Even though we're talking about the driver here, the behavior of riders in that regard is also unacceptable, okay? Next slide, please. Help keep one another safe. So these are components about keeping both the rider and the driver safe, okay? One of them being account sharing. Account sharing is deception. We can trust and be dangerously, and it can be dangerous. Intentionally falsifying information or assuming someone else's identity, taking over someone else's account is absolutely unacceptable. As a driver, you cannot share your account with anyone for any reason at any time. This is part of keeping the account holder and the rider safe. It's an identity thing, right? We and the rider accept the account holder to arrive for the pickup and no one else. So if you're the driver, they expect you, the account holder, to pick them up, okay? So really important. Us as a company expect you to be the person picking up that rider. That's your profile and no one else should be using that, okay? People under the age of 18. I have notes, so I just want to make sure I don't forget anything. So people under the age of 18, riders must be accompanied by an adult if you're under the age of 18. Okay, so therefore, it's up to you as a driver to make sure you're not driving a minor in your vehicle without adult accompaniment. Very serious, okay? And I just lost my slides again.
All right, so
let's see if I can find them on my notes. Oh, there they are. They're back. Okay. Extra passengers. Here at Vibe Rides, no more than 2 people per ride request is allowed. So it may be a couple, right? So you can't, we've got to allow them into the vehicle. But if it's more than 2 people, that is a separate ride. You just be polite, professional, let them know they have to ask for another Vibe ride. Okay. Seat belts and car seats. Okay. When riding with small children, it's the account holder's responsibility to provide a car seat. And children under the age of 12 should travel in the back seat. Okay, so if you don't have a car seat and the individual, the adult accompanying them does not have a car seat, it is up to you to inform them that you cannot accept their ride without that. Why? This is safety. You want to make sure your riders are safe. And if something were to happen, you're going to be responsible for anyone who enters your vehicle. So especially children, we want to keep them safe, right? That includes seat belts. All seat belts must be worn all of the time. That includes you as a driver, and that includes the rider. The law requires both driver and passenger. And what's going to happen is, depends on, if you get pulled over by the police, they may charge you they might give you a ticket for the rider not wearing their seatbelt, including one for you, and they may also have the rider get a ticket as well. So what you're going to do is just be professional and polite and kind and let them know they need to wear their seatbelt. If they don't adhere to that, they know they're going to eventually get a ticket, but please be mindful of that and let them know they must wear their seatbelt for safety reasons, okay? Use of cameras or other video or audio recording devices. Every state is different. And for us, for safety reasons, we allow dash cams. But what's important is you have to have signage inside your vehicle and on the outside of your vehicle to let the rider know that you have a dash cam or some sort of video or recording. Now it says audio there. We don't allow audio recording. If you do have audio recording, you must turn it off, or you must let the rider know that you are audio recording this ride, and they have to accept that. If they don't accept being videotaped, you must turn it off. But make sure you have signage in your vehicle and on the outside of your vehicle, and that you verbally let them know that you do have dash cams for safety purposes, okay? So you do have to let them know. It is absolutely unacceptable to record and upload this video. It's basically for safety reasons only. And the only reason why you should be sharing your video with anyone would be with us or the police. That is in case there's an accident, and that's the reason why we allow dash cams. If there's an accident, we need the recording. The police may need the recording for proof of the accident or for any incident that you may have with the rider. Then that's the reason why you would share it. So sharing the video is absolutely unacceptable. Uploading it to social media and to your Instagram account or your Facebook or wherever it may be, or sharing with another friend for that matter, or anyone else, is not acceptable. You cannot share any videos unless the rider literally on the video tells you it's okay to share it with whoever you want. Okay, so that's really, really important. Next slide, please. All right, follow the law. Of course, we need to follow the law to the best of our ability, and we need to be mindful of that, okay? One of those things is property damage. Now, property damage, this is more on the rider side to let you know that, if a rider damages your car or vandalizes your phone or your tablet that you're using, or you in turn are upset and are vandalizing their property, that is absolutely unacceptable. Spilling food or drink may happen if it's done purposely, smoking in a car, vomiting because they're pretty drunk. That is property damage. And we want to let you know, we want to protect you in regards to that, okay? So this is for both sides. We want to protect both you and the rider, but in this case, if there's property damage, the rider is responsible for your damage. Okay, so we wanted to make sure we let you know that, except, of course, the normal everyday wear and tear. Okay, next one is service animals. U.S. state and federal laws require that drivers must provide rides to anyone with a service animal. Knowingly refusing a ride, a trip because of the service animal may result in losing your access to your account. And we take that very seriously. And that means if you have allergies for religious objections or you have a fear of animals, it's still, you cannot refuse that. Why? Because service animals are there for a reason. This individual depends on that animal. That is their guide, that's their eyes, that's their ears. And it's very, very important that you are mindful of that and respectful of that, okay? But you can ask 2 questions, okay? By law, a driver can ask a rider 2 things. If the animal is required because of disability, and what work or task does the animal has been trained to perform? Because sometimes you actually you can't really get close to the animal. It has a certain service it does. It may be very protective. So stay away from the animal in regards to that, because we don't want any confrontation regarding that either. But you can ask those 2 questions, okay? You're allowed to that, but you cannot refuse. All right, next one, drugs and alcohol. We at Vibe Rides have a 0 tolerance policy. No alcohol and no drugs while using the app. We don't tolerate that in any fashion, way, or form. So open bottles in your vehicle have to be disposed of. You cannot be driving around with open bottles in your trunk, in your back seat, in your front seat, wherever. Of course, you can't use drugs or alcohol while you're driving and using Vibe Rides, okay? Also, when the rider does come into the vehicle, and some of them may be drunk or have a bottle in their hand, that has to be disposed before they can enter the vehicle. So you do have the right to let them know that no alcoholic beverages allowed in the vehicle during the ride, okay? They'll have to dispose that before the ride begins. Okay, and the next one is firearms policy. Yes, it's a pretty serious subject, and but we at Vibe Rides prohibit riders and guests and drivers for carrying firearms of any kind while you're driving, okay, and while you're using the app. That is our policy in regards to firearms. So heed those rules, please. It's really, really important to keep everyone safe. That includes yourself and the rider. Next slide. Okay. Scott, before we go into this real quick, I want to say one more thing that's not in the guidelines, and I think it's really important in regards to the brand and our company. Spamming. I hadn't put that on the guidelines, but I do want to share that real quick. I want to take a moment to help. We're in this together, and our brand is very important. It's important to us, and it's important to you as well. Many of you out there are very vigilant, and we appreciate that so very much. And you protect the brand, you protect Vibe Rides, and we love you for that. But there's been, and it happens. People get excited, they want to do all kinds of stuff to spread the word, but spamming is part of our guidelines. We don't allow spamming in groups in any manner whatsoever. The world will know all about us, but there's no reason to spam in Facebook groups and Instagram groups in regards to Vibe Rides. We don't tolerate that either, and we want you to know if you know anyone that is doing that, please inform us. But we don't allow spamming at all. And then you can do it very nicely and diplomatically. If you see someone and you want to protect the brand because you're protective of us, we appreciate that too. Just let them know very respectfully and diplomatically. And if they don't adhere to that because maybe they don't understand and they just need to be made aware of, let us know, email support, and we'll follow up on that. Okay? So I just wanted to thank those who are protecting the brand but then again, remember about spamming. We don't accept spamming in any manner whatsoever, okay? And then any income claims as well, we don't tolerate income claims. So we'll get into more of that later, but I just wanted to share that with you real quick, okay? It's all you, Scott. Thank you so much.
Great. Thank you, Angela. And I just want to clarify one thing that Angela was talking about as it pertained to the number of the people in the car. Because of social distancing right now, That's why we're limiting the number of people in the vehicles. When the whole social distancing concept is over, hopefully sooner than later, we'll go back and it basically be the number of people that are allowed in the vehicle are based on the number of seat belts that are in the car. So I know there might have been some confusion, but from a socially distancing standpoint, that's what we're practicing right now. So I'm going to give you a little commercial here. I know what you're saying to yourself when you're watching at home. Scott's got a really cool Vibe Rides shirt on today. How can I get one of those too? We're lucky to have partnered with a marketing company that provides a lot of apparel for us. We have a great selection of shirts, caps, coffee cups, mugs, stuff you can use on the road when you drive. And probably tomorrow I will share a link with you. For those of you out there that said, how can I get some of my own Vibe Rides gear? I want to be part of the team. I want to be part of the culture. We'll be able to get you all that type of information. I thank the home office for sending my gear to me. With the social distancing, I've been talking to you from home and I haven't been in the office, so I haven't been able to wear it. But yes, we've got great apparel, and it's something that I'm sure many of you are going to want, and I'll get you the link for that. With that, Mark, can you throw up the next slide for me on culture and difference? Thank you. And like I said, our culture is, we want to be different. We just don't want to be like everybody else. And so because of that culture, we've looked at the standpoint, we're looking at unique opportunities and unique positioning for both drivers and riders. This is really a two-part equation. In every transaction, there's a driver and there's a rider. So when we looked at it, we think, how do we optimize it for both? How do we make that best experience? And how do we make it that when people get out of Vibe Rides, they say, wow, I always want to go on Vibe Rides. I love the drivers. The drivers love the riders. Our culture is just different. So here's some of the things that we've done. If you can turn the next slide for me, Mark. One thing that's pretty cool that we're really doing is, our goal is to personalize the rider's experience. Now, I want you to think about this. You're going to know what your rider's vibe is before you pick them up. If you've had a chance to go to our website at viberides.com, you'll see we run some commercials out there. We've actually have our own commercials. And in there, you're going to see that everybody has their own vibe. And when we say we're their own vibe, what does it mean? It's basically, it's you. How do you feel? How do you want your ride experience to be? So we take a look at that, and what do you get a chance to pick? So if you're a rider, now let me back up. If you're a driver and you're going to pick somebody up, first of all, you know what type of vehicle that they want based on the type of vehicle that they selected, whether it's a basic, intermediate, or high-end car. You basically know what they've selected from the vehicle standpoint because that's the car you're driving. But again, from a rider standpoint, they get to pick. Maybe someday they're going to the airport. They just feel a small car. Maybe they're on an anniversary. They're out with their wife or their girlfriend, and they want the opportunity to impress them, and they want a luxury ride. You get to decide your vibe at that period of time. So also when the rider gets to the car, we'll let them know, like, the rider will be able to pick the temperature. So for me, when I get into a car, I like it very cool. I'm a 68-degree guy. I can tell you when Angela gets in the car, she's probably, I'm going to guess, Angela, you're 73 to 74 degrees. But it'd be nice when you get in the car, you as a driver knows that person that gets in the car, you know what to expect from them. You know what their vibe is for that day. You know what they want. Also, really, what I think is a cool feature for us is music. So you, again, as the rider, you get to decide what's your music selection, what's your genre, what do you want to listen to when you're in the car. Everybody's different. And here's what's really neat about it. You can change it at any time. You can change your vibe as the rider, anything you want. So again, as the drivers who are picking you up, you're always going to know, drivers, what is the vibe of that rider that's coming into the car. You're going to say, this guy's coming in, he's going to want some smooth jazz. I bet you he's going to want to kind of relax a little bit, sit in the back seat, probably be a little bit quiet. When the guy comes in, the next one you pick up wants some hard metal playing. You're going to say, like, okay, this guy's probably on the edge. He's probably got some stuff going on. But again, the rider gets to pick that vibe. You're going to know when they get in the car what they want to listen to. Same thing with conversation. As we all know, that's kind of a difficult thing between riders and drivers to figure out. My experience has been some drivers like to talk, some don't. Correspondingly, some riders like to talk and some don't. And so you, again, get to pick your vibe. Do you want to talk a lot with the driver? Would you prefer not to talk to the driver? Or do you just want to get the basic information? So from a conversation standpoint, again, it really helps the experience between the rider and the driver. Okay. Another thing that you can select is what type of GPS system do you want to use? There's many out there today, but some people will say, I like using maps. I like using maps. I think that's the best way to go. Other people say, I like the shortest distance. I think I'd like to use Waze. We know that some of the ladies out there aren't a fan of Waze. They'd rather stick with maps. But you get to decide. You pick your vibe every time you want to get in that car. And you as the driver are going to know when that person gets in the car. When you get that ping on your phone, you're going to know what that vibe is for the rider. You're going to know their temperature, their music, their conversation, and what GPS system they want to do, what they do. So really what you're looking here for is we're looking as drivers providing that service for this customer, providing the best service you possibly can, is you get to personalize that ride just for that rider's experience, which we think is pretty cool. Now, we also have some safety features. We're going to do a class coming up here, a training session later this week on safety features. And we have one of the coolest safety features that I think anybody in rideshare has. I'm not going to cover it today. I'm going to make you show up later in the week, and I'm going to tell you the coolest safety feature that exists in the rideshare industry today. Okay, Mark, you want to go to the next slide for me, please? So the other thing we've done, of course, our goal to help you as a driver, we need to incentivize the riders to keep using Vibe rides. Always want to do that. Our goal is to help you continue to have everybody want to come and use Vibe rides. Your job as a driver is to give them that great experience, to give them that personal experience. Our goal of Vibe rides is to basically make them keep coming back. So that's why we look from a reward system. We look at, as we just talked about, choose your vibe. You get a chance to choose your vibe. You get that car the way you want it, when you want to ride it. If I want 68 degrees and I want to listen to some old time rock and roll and I just want to sit in the back of the car, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to choose my vibe the way I want it. We talked about safety features. We will have state-of-the-art safety features, and we will have safety features that other rideshare companies don't have today. And like I said, we're going to explain that later in the week, and you have to come back for it. We also have some unique reward systems for our riders. This is something we're going to be touching on a little bit later, but again, we have an affiliation with a marketing company. And through that marketing company, we're going to be able to provide some rewards and some incentives that really nobody else has out there. So our goal, like I said, from Vibe Rides is to make sure that we can keep those riders coming back. You get them excited on that standpoint. We'll get them excited on the reward standpoint. And together, this will be just a great opportunity. So as you drivers are out there, I know right now you're saying, geez, Scott, that's great. You've got a lot of information out there for the riders. Understand how we're catering to the riders. What about the drivers? Is there anything else that you got for us right now that can give us a little more incentive as we get started? And yes, we do. We have a program. Mark, next slide, please. We call this program Vibe 5. And we devised this along the lines of, if you look when you were signing up, if you were here when you went through the application process when we did the training on Friday, you notice there was a couple costs that you as a driver had. One of those costs was the cost of the background check, which was roughly $33. There's also the cost of the vehicle inspection that we estimate shouldn't really cost you more than $20 to $30. So what we did is we put together a promotion for all the Vibe drivers, and this is the way it works. We're going to pay you $50 under the following conditions. You've got to complete 5 rides. So when you sign up, you get your first 5 rides, and if you look at the little asterisk there on the bottom, you must maintain a minimum of a 4.2 rating. If you have a rating of 4.2 or higher, and you've completed your 5 rides, we are going to pay you $50. And part of the reason for paying that $50 is to offset the cost of the background check and the vehicle inspection. So I think that's going to be an exciting thing for all your drivers out there. It may relieve a little bit of the concern that people had about the cost of paying for the background check. All you got to do is get through the process, get your 5 rides in, learn your customer's vibe. We're going to help you do that, like I said, with the information. And later this week, just so you know, we're going to go through the back end of the application too. So I know that a lot of the drivers are saying, what's it going to look like? How am I going to receive the information? It's all going to come on your app. Angela will be back later in the week, and we're going to go over what that application looks like so you know how to do that vibe for that rider coming in. So if you take a look again, our culture being different, I think you can see that, the way that we structure this between the driver and the rider, and then what the company is doing, this is an incredibly exciting opportunity. So the 5-5 is just for you drivers. That's your promotion. $50 after 5 rides, maintain a minimum of 4.2 rating. And for the people that we have out there, 4.2 rating should be simple to do. I expect most of you to be a 5 rating all the time. Okay, Mark, on to the next slide. Tomorrow's topic is probably one of the biggest topic requests that we've had so far in the chats as we've gone over the last 3 days. We're going to cover 2 topics tomorrow. One we'd like to refer to as R3, and one we'd like to refer to as overdrive. And if you remember, over the last few days, I've been throwing a concept out there called opportunity-driven concept. We call it the opportunity-driven concept versus what I consider the traditional rideshare concept of self-employment concept. This opportunity tomorrow, you're going to want to be on. You're going to want to be on in here. If you remember yesterday, I talked about how you're going to get paid on the fare, and I said the maximum you get up to would be 75% after 50 rides. But I also said there was the opportunity to earn another 12% on top of that 75%. Tomorrow, we're going to talk about that other 12%. We're going to talk about what it takes to earn that other 12%, what you have to do to earn that other 12%, and what does that mean. And those are the 2 topics we're going to call tomorrow that are called R3 and overdrive. Guarantee you want to be on the call. You want to listen to this one. This is really what differentiates us from the other rideshare companies out there. Very, very unique concept. So with that, Mark, we're going to roll over to questions and answers at this point in time on the next slide. And I'm going to bring Angela back on.
Well, there's like.
Are you there, Angela?
That I use for the eggs. That's why.
I think she's there.
I'm trying to get my video on. I think Mark is in control. Let's see here.
I mean, it's not rocket science.
Okay, start my video. Hello.
Shame on you, Mike.
Hey, I'm back. Hey, Scott, looks good though. I'm telling you, I like that shirt. And just
Hey,
remind
thank
me,
you.
I'm shopping myself.
I just appreciate the home office for finally sending out my Vibe gear to me. Social distancing, I'm doing my part. I'm staying at home. But yes, you too can get a Vibe shirt like this.
We deliver.
Absolutely. So let's go to some of the questions and answers from yesterday. So you ready, Angela? And Angela, you might need to get a little bit closer to the microphone. You're coming over a little bit quiet
Am I? Okay.
for me.
See, it's probably just Can you hear me now? Can you
Yeah,
hear me?
that's better. Okay. So one question that came up yesterday from Shama was, I am a current Envoy driver for seniors and have submitted recent valid inspections. Why should I pay $30 to Vibe?
Okay, great question. And Shama, I hope I said the name correctly, but you don't pay the $30 to Vibe. Your inspection actually goes to the mechanic who does your inspection. But you do need to provide a current vehicle inspection on our Vibe Rides form. So that's really important. And you can go to a certified mechanic to get that done. It doesn't have to be, we'll go deeper into this. I think it's further down in regards to ASC certification. But at this point, Shama, you need to put it on a Vibe Rides form, and the $30 goes to the mechanic that's doing your inspection.
Okay, Angela, why don't you, I know there's a lot of questions on that ASC certification. Do you want to just jump in and explain that right now?
Absolutely. So when we first started off, we had a form that had
ASE certification listed. And what an ASE certification is, that the mechanic or the shop itself had to be ASE certified, which is a certification, a pretty high level certification in regards to doing inspection and running a garage and being a mechanic. So what we did was we opened it up. So now you don't have to have an ASE certified mechanic to do your inspection. We're allowing certified mechanics and garages and mechanic shops to do your certification. Because we want to make sure it's accessible and affordable for you. And for a mechanic certification inspection for a 19 point for us, you're looking at $25 to $35 on average. That's where it should be. We've heard it's up to 110 and 150. No, that is not acceptable. And we don't have control over what the shop forces you to pay, but there's tremendous amount of options out there. Do not pay the 110 or the 150. That is not the average cost for a 19 point inspection. And we just wanted to make sure we let you know that, okay?
Great, thanks, Angela.
No
There's been a number of questions that have come in pertaining to a driver's license from different states. We have a lot of our drivers have asked, what if I have a driver's license in Oklahoma or New Jersey or New York or someplace else? Can you explain how that's going to be handled for them?
Yeah, we have breaking news. Well, of course, we're talking to our developers on a regular basis, and every day we're talking to them about the app. And there's always updates coming out. So the breaking news is we have opened it up, and actually you're going to need to give us, I think, 24 hours. And within 24 hours, you'll be able to put any driver's license from any state into the system. Okay, but with that, of course, you can input your driver's license from your state, but you have to remember, if you're driving, because we're only open in Florida and in Texas, you must follow the laws regarding your driver's license and driving within that state. So make sure you check those laws. That's important. But for now, you can add licenses from any state.
Okay, great. Thanks, Angela. Next question came from Fernando asking, what happens if a driver only makes 40 rides?
Well, that's pretty good. I think you're doing a great job. If you do 40 rides, as we spoke about, anything above that, you get into the 75% range. But when you're rides, that gets you paid 70%. That's still pretty good. So you know what your incentive is? Get up to the 75%. That's all you got to do. So aim for that, okay?
So what Angela was just saying is, as we talked about yesterday, we'll be paying out a rate of 70% until you reach 50 rides. After 50 rides, then we'll be paying out 75%. So hopefully that'll clarify that for everybody. You go back, and the question came up from JT Byrne, can we start recruiting passengers now?
Well, of course you can. Absolutely. Go ahead and recruit those passengers. Absolutely. We're going to be talking about overdrive tomorrow. So this is kind of going into the overdrive section of things. And guess what? That means you just have to come back tomorrow. So come on back tomorrow and you'll get more of that answered for you.
So we just touched on the vehicle inspections, Angela, and I want to ask you to expand on it a little bit. In a couple different areas, people have asked, what if I've got a new vehicle? What if can I bring a certified mechanic and do like a job fair? We've had a lot of drivers asking different questions. So could you expand a little bit on more like on the inspection side? If you've got a new vehicle, if somebody wants to bring a certified mechanic into a job fair, what that would mean?
Yes, absolutely. So you have a vehicle that's from 2019 to 20. You just purchased a new vehicle. And of course, when you do that, they give you an inspection as part of your purchase. So we will accept a certified inspection from your dealership where you purchased your vehicle. So 2019, 2020, new vehicle, absolutely. We'll definitely accept that. Instead of a Vibe Rides inspection, we could do that. And in regards to a mechanic, a certified mechanic at any fairs or any job fairs that that's happening out there, absolutely. As long as the mechanic is certified, and the mobile mechanic is certified to be able to do 19-point inspections anywhere, being mobile in a sense. As long as they're verified, absolutely, you're more than welcome to do that. Most definitely.
Great, thanks, Angela. We had a question that says, how do I change my profile picture on the app?
Okay, well, you can go back into your app right now. So if you haven't been into your app, make sure you close your app and open it again to get the latest updates. Maybe that's the challenge and why you can't get in there. Or what you can also do is delete your app and re-download the app, and then you'll get the most up-to-date information from our developers. And that way you can go right back in and change your profile picture and any documents that you need to be changing in there. Okay.
Awesome, thanks, Angela. Next question is, can a driver use another driver's car?
Well, that's going to be difficult. You can't really do that. The reason why is because that insurance is specific to that vehicle. And that insurance specific to that vehicle is tied to the vehicle owner. So if you're not the vehicle owner and your name is not on the insurance, it'll be very difficult for you to use someone else's vehicle. So that's the challenge that you're going to have, and most likely you will not be able to do that.
Okay. Here's just a general question that came in. Some of our drivers out there currently have their vehicle wrapped. What's Vibe Ride's policies if your vehicle is currently wrapped?
We will accept wrapped vehicles. Of course, it's got to be, once you're uploading it, our customer amazement team will take a look and see what the wrap is. And if it all depends on what the wrap is. We don't want anything vulgar, anything, political, or any type of discrimination of sorts that's involved in the wrap. But if your car is wrapped, we will most likely accept that, but it has to go through review first.
Okay.
So the answer is yes.
Last question for today comes from Celeste. When are we going to receive our Vibe decals?
Hey, Celeste. So as soon as you're fully approved and gone through the whole process and the customer amazement team has put you through the system and you're fully approved, you will get a welcome kit. And in your welcome kit, you'll have some goodies, you'll have your welcome letter, and of course, you'll have your decals. But in the meantime, you can go into the app. Once you're approved, you'll have access to a link. And that link will take you to a temporary decal that you can download and print up. And you can use that decal in the meantime while you wait for your welcome kit.
Great. Thanks, Angela. And that's going to wrap it up for our questions that we have today. And again, I just want to emphasize tomorrow's call is the information that we probably get asked the most for about the Overdrive program, okay, and about R3. Again, thank you, Mark, for putting that up there. If you have additional questions, please go to viberides.com and click support, or Vibe Rides, but it's hard to say, support.com. Again, Frederick Brim, who does our customer service group, has done a tremendous job documenting that for you, making it easy for you to follow through. So I'd encourage you to do that. But again, tomorrow is a call, one of the calls. I would say you should have been on every call so far, the first 3 that we've had. But definitely, I want you to be in that call tomorrow, R3 and Overdrive. Those are where we're getting most of our questions, and we will detail that tomorrow. So I just want to say a big thanks to everybody that helps us every day. Angela, thank you. Fred Brim, who's running customer service for us. Our IT and development team that's working all the time. Mark Kithart for helping us get all our slide presentations and running things for us today. And all the other folks at the back in the home office. T. Gray, Mr. Edward Haynes, and Mr. Holton Bugs. Thank you. Thank you for tuning in today, guys. And drive smart, be safe, and we'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye.
Mistreating the dog and not feeding it like you did with Sarah.
Great job.
What kind
Thank
of small
you.
dog you talking about?
Something cute. I mean, something, you could go to the shelter and look around or something if you want.
Well, it's the same thing with the income thing.
What you mean?
Like, I don't have extra money for a dog, and I know you don't either.
I mean, I'll sacrifice a little bit.
Like, sacrifice what? Working full time?
Well, I would get a job, obviously, because of, like, if I had to get a job, I have no problem finding a job. If worst comes to worst, I'll go back to Marcus Pizza, and then I'll like sacrifice for the shots or whatever if it needed, and then like what
Yeah, I'm not gonna
pieces-
take no dog. I mean, the reason why I take Rachel is because she doesn't drive.